Hi, I just wanted to show you and go through the interface of Python from python.org when you downloaded it and how to use it a little bit and show it to you and walk through it a little bit. And I wanted to show you a couple of other ways of using Python, for instance, if you have a Chromebook, and some other IDEs. So let's get to it. I'll share my screen. And then I will go to my all apps and I'll scroll down and see Python under P down here somewhere, LMNOP. And here I have Python 3.10 or 1.0, which is the new version. You can see I have a couple of other versions. If I click on this, you'll see that there's the IDLE interface, there's the Python shell, there's some manuals, and there's some module documents. So I'm going to click on, well, I'll show you this one. So I'll click on this one. There we go. Now, this is Python, and it's a command line interface. So it lets you type in a particular command or a line of code and see what it does. So I'll just type in print hello and press enter. And right here, it shows me hello. That's the output of that line of code. Okay. And so the book uses this in the try me section. And I encourage you, especially if you're new to programming or new to Python, to use this to go through some of those try me's in the book. So let me close this and let me open the book really quick. And I'll just go to one. If I can find one. Here we go. Scroll, 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 scroll. Okay, it's killing me here. I can't find any. There's a bunch of them in the book. Seriously? Here, let me stop scrolling and get down here. And let's see what it says. Here, let's try it. Here's one. So it says from the Python shell, enter the following and observe the results. And so what they're talking about here is the Python shell. And you can just type into the shell exactly what it says here. So let me get back to it. Python. There we go. So what does it say? It says, there we go. So if I type in, so if you look down here, it says print. Can I copy that? Yes, I can. Control C. Print format, hello world, comma, and then there's one of those doohickeys and 40. And so if I press enter, what does it do? Well, it looks like it's created and centered hello world in a column that's 40 characters wide. So basically, you can do all kinds of stuff here. You can run more complicated lines of code. So for instance, I could do Bob equals 6 and press enter and then press print and print Bob, and it should say 6. So you can do value assignments, etc., etc. So you can run multiple lines of code. You just can't run a whole program. You really can't create a whole program. And in order to do that, we need the IDLE shell or the IDLE IDE. So let me close this and I'll open the idle IDE. And by the way, I have a shortcut on my desktop for it because that's what I use most of the time. So I'll just double click on this and I'll maximize it. And I can get to the shell. Oh, I'm sorry. This is also a shell, so I can type print and hello and press enter, and it shows me what the output would be from that line of code. Now, from here, I can also create a program. And I do that by going to File and New File. Now I'm in kind of a word editor. And basically, I can write all kinds of code. So I can say, welcome to Python. And then if you notice on the left-hand side, it's showing me line numbers. And I can write a line of code. Now notice when I press print, it doesn't run the code. So for instance, if I do print welcome to Python, and I press enter, it just takes me to the next line of code because I'm creating a program that has more than one line of code. So what we're doing here is we're creating a Python file. And so I can keep going and I can keep printing stuff and or keep writing code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this a couple of times. I know it's a little bit redundant, but now I can run this by clicking on the little run button here and then clicking run module. Now it's asking me to save this file before I run it. So I'm going to have to save it. So I'm going to just type in a name, example, oops, and hit save. Well, I'll put it on my desktop so I can delete it again. I'll hit save. And now this is the program running. So let me minimize this. So you can see that I have two windows here. Here is my code, and I can actually make a change here. I can say, I can change this last line. And then I can run this again. And it says, you know, I have to save it, but I've already saved it once. So it will overwrite my previous code if I just click OK. And you can see that now it pops the shell up. And you can see that I've made the change here. The last line is see you later instead of welcome to Python. So that's kind of how the interface works. That's the basics of using the Python interface. You can, and I would, make sure that it shows, well, you can click on configure idle. And what I would do is I would go to the shell and I would make sure that it says show line numbers. Okay. You can also change this so that it will not prompt you to save the file when you run it. I like to have it prompt me to remind me. Let's see, what else can we do? We can change the initial size of the characters, etc., of the window. I like to change the font size to make it bigger because I have a hard time seeing. So I change it to 16. You can also change the default font. I'll just press it. Well, here, I'll press apply. That's fine. Oh, what else can I do here? There was one that said options. Highlights. Yeah, you can putz around with that at your own. There's idle classic, there's idle dark. So if you like a dark background, you can change that. Idle new. Is there a new one? I'll hit apply, see what happens. It didn't change anything. So anyway, that is the by the way, when we get to indenting, there's an easy way to indent different sections. You just look at the edit thing and you can see it says select all, cut, copy, paste, find, replace, etc., etc. There's all kinds of stuff here. When you go to format, it says indent region, dedent region, so I can indent this whole region. And by the way, use the keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are very handy. So if I select something, I can press Control and that right square, and it will indent or dedent. And we'll be doing that a lot. So you can comment out a region, which basically just puts two things in front of it. So the format menu is very helpful, actually. And there's just the run module. So I'll go ahead and close this, and we'll take a look at a couple of other options that you have. So first off, if you're using a Chromebook, you know that you can't install any software. So as far as the Chromebook, the easiest way to do that is to just get online. And I like online Python, that's what it's called. So, and by the way, if you're not using a Chromebook, you can use this too. But I would stick with the python.org, the official kind of version. But if I do online Python here, and I press, there we go, onlinepython.com, and I click on it, you can see that I have some options here. And by the way, it already has some code. So I'll just click run. Oops, what's down here? I'll close that. So, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's an ad here that I'm going to close. Right? You can scroll up and down. It's a web page. I will press run and just use their example code. And down here is where the program is running. So it says enter first number. Okay, 5. Enter second number. Okay, 8. Process exited. Press enter to exit terminal. So I'm not sure what happened. I don't think it worked the way it's supposed to. Let me run it again. 5, 5. Oh, there it is. Now it worked. I don't know why it didn't work the first time. Sum of 5 and 5 is 10. So you can see that it's running the program. Now, we can change this by deleting all of this stuff, and you can write your own code. So I'm just going to go with the print. Oops. And hello. And I'll run this. And it says, do you want to save the file? And I can change the file name. So I'll change this to example. And I'll press yes. And now it's in my downloads. So I'll press run. And you can see that it just said hello, because that's all my code does. I can open a file. Right? So I can go, well, you would go here and you would save your program to, wherever it is you're going to save your programs to. So this will do pretty much the same thing that, the shell will. It's a little bit less complex. Well, not complex. It doesn't have as many features, but it is perfectly usable. So if you have a Chromebook, this is the easiest way to go, I think. And you can still save files and keep stuff, and then open it up again. You just click on open from disk, and you can find your project and edit it if you need to. So let me close this. Oops. Actually, let me go back home. Well, you know what? Let me not go back home. Let me close this. And then I'll talk about one more Python IDE. It's called Thonny. Thonny. And basically, this is a kind of a combination of both. So this one has a little bit of an advantage over the one from python.org in that it will maybe it doesn't. Well, I'm not sure. I can run this right here, run current script, boom, it runs down here underneath, so it doesn't open a new window. So what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. And so you can see that it runs down here. What can we do with it? I don't know. Increase, decrease font size. So I can increase the font size there in the view menu. I can open a file. I can save the file. So here it says, if I click, it says save, Control S. Although for some reason it's not letting me save it right now. Let me run it. Did I make a change? Oh, stop. There we go. File. It won't let me save right now. I'm not sure why. Let me open a file and see what happens when I open my own file. Well, actually, you know what? Let me hit cancel and let me get rid of this. And let me create, see now, look, the save button has now appeared. It's no longer browned out. So when I write new code, the save button appears. I can save the file, etc. This is called Thonny. It's also very popular with beginners. So let me go to here and type in Thonny. Python IDE for beginners, and you can download it here. I would, if you're just starting out, just download the regular one, the one from python.org. There are other IDEs that are more complex and where you actually have to kind of learn the IDE. Now, the book uses the regular Python idle. It uses this format, and it tells you how to use this one. So that's what I would recommend, but there are others. For those of you that are a bit more advanced, you know, if you want to use PyCharm or Genie, or even Visual Studio, you may. Okay, but these can be a little bit intimidating. So here is PyCharm, and I'm going to exit this. I'm not going to go through these. Here's Genie. It's Genie with a G. Enter the distance traveled in miles. I don't know. So there you go. So I guess I'm done. So we'll see you later. Bye.